When I think about mornings, I remember the soft clink of a spoon against a breakfast plate and the way sunlight used to spill across the kitchen table like a friendly visitor. Maybe you remember that too. An egg sizzling gently in a pan, coffee warming your hands, a bit of butter melting on toast. That simple music of home. Have you ever noticed how mornings feel quieter as we grow older, like they're asking us to slow down and listen? I have a deep fondness for eggs. They are one of the most honest foods we have. Humble, nourishing, reliable. Yet, over the years, I have learned that the way we handle the simple food matters more than most of us were ever told. Not because eggs are villains. In truth, they can be a steady friend to bones, eyes, and memory. But as with most friends, we need to treat them with care. Let me tell you about Margaret. She's the sort of neighbor who brings extra tomatoes from her garden and never forgets a birthday. She has always believed in eating well. For breakfast, she rotates, scramble one day, sunny side another, a soft-boiled treat on Sundays. She is smart and thoughtful, and like many of us, she trusts the rhythm she has used for years. But there were a few small habits tucked into her routine that were quietly working against her. Habits that can trip up any of us without meaning to. This is a gentle conversation about those small habits and how to turn them around. Think of it as a warm kitchen table talk, the kind where someone pours you a cup of tea and says, "You might like to know this. I would like to walk with you through a handful of simple changes, 3, 4, maybe 5, that protect the body we live in, step by kind step. And along the way, we will unfasten 1 or 2 old myths, because even good people can carry old stories that are ready to be set down." Before we begin, a quiet question. Do you ever find yourself missing those simple days when your body felt lighter and the rules of food made sense? I know I do. Life gets noisy, labels shout, news changes. But in our own kitchens, we can still choose calm, common sense, and the kind of small wisdom that keeps a person steady, the life we are living now. As we move through our 60s and 70s, the body whispers truths it did not have to whisper before. Digestion slows a little. The stomach's natural acid softens, our skin thins, our reflexes take their time, and our immune system, faithful and hardworking, asks for a bit more support. Is it not interesting how stress does not shout anymore? It simply taps us on the shoulder when we are tired. You may find that one night of poor sleep lingers longer than it used to. Maybe your joints talk back after a walk, or you notice your memory loves good nourishment, good water, and a peaceful pace. Have you ever wondered why a short walk can lift your mood so much these days? Almost like a small prayer for the body? All of this is ordinary. The body is not failing us. It is asking us to be kinder. And that is why the basic foods we trust, like eggs, deserve a bit of extra care. A few thoughtful habits can help you avoid stomach troubles, protect your heart, guard your eyes, and keep mornings peaceful. Step 1, cook with warmth, not risk. You know how a good quilt keeps the chill out? Heat, used properly, does the same for an egg. Bacteria do not argue with steady temperature. They simply give up. A runny yolk can look pretty on a plate, but if your immune system is not what it once was, that glossy center may not reach the heat it needs to be safe. For many years, I loved dipping toast into a soft yolk, and I still do on occasion with pasteurized eggs. But for everyday cooking, I let the yolk grow firm, scrambled until softly set, fried until sturdy, hard-boiled enough to slice with a butter knife. It is amazing how peace of mind makes food taste better. Have you ever noticed that peace of mind feels like the best seasoning of all? If you truly crave that tender, slightly soft center, look for pasteurized eggs. They have been gently warmed beforehand, enough to discourage the troublemakers without turning breakfast into rubber. And if you are cooking for grandchildren or a friend who is recovering from an illness, consider making eggs well done. They will not mind the care. Step 2, store eggs. With respect, I used to tuck eggs wherever there was room, a clear spot on the door, an easy corner near the soup leftovers. Then I learned that shells breathe ever so slightly, like tiny screens rather than solid walls. They pick up smells and sometimes trouble. Now I keep eggs in their carton in the coldest part of the refrigerator, away from onions, garlic, and anything with a bold personality. It is a small thing, but small things do add up. Sometimes I think of the carton as a little house that keeps eggs protected from drafts and gossip. It holds them steady, shields them from wobbly temperatures, and prevents aromas from slipping in. Have you ever noticed how a single onion can perfume the entire fridge if you let it? Eggs are polite. They will borrow that perfume if we are not careful. There's also a habit that many of us learned from mothers and grandmothers, rinsing eggs as soon as we bring them home. It feels like good housekeeping. But the truth is that gentle bloom on the shell is the egg's coat. Wash it away early and you open the door to moisture and mischief. If a shell looks dusty, I wait. I clean it right before cooking with a dry cloth or a damp one, and then I use that egg soon. You know that feeling when your body tells you what it needs, quietly but clearly? Eggs do something similar. They ask to be left alone until it is their turn to meet the pan. Step 3. Choose cookware that keeps its promises. I have owned a few non-stick pans that were, for a season, a blessing. The egg would slide onto the plate like a small miracle, but pans are like shoes. Over time, they scuff and wear. When the surface starts to scratch, I let the pan go. A good cast iron skillet, well seasoned, will last a lifetime and only grow kinder. Stainless steel, warmed properly with a bit of butter or olive oil, can cradle an egg just fine. Ceramic pans treat a morning with respect, too. We do not need to fear our tools, we just need to choose tools that stay honest. Isn't it something how the right tool makes you slow down and cook more gently? When I heat a pan, I give it a moment. I do not rush empty heat too high. I let the metal come alive the way a violin string vibrates when you pluck it softly. Then I add butter and listen to that whispering sizzle, not a shout. An egg likes a pan that is ready for it. That is part of why cooking can feel like companionship. You and the skillet learning each other's rhythm. Step 4. Love the whole egg. Now here is a tender truth. For years, many of us were told to fear the yolk. We faithfully ordered egg white omelets, proud of our discipline, only to discover later that the golden center is home to the very nutrients our older brains and eyes enjoy. Vitamin D keeps bones supported. Lutein and zeaxanthine care for the eyes, like little sunglasses that work from the inside. Chalene tends to memory, thoughtful and quiet, the way a librarian keeps a good index. The white brings protein, yes, and that is valuable. But the yolk brings the gifts that protect us over time. Do you ever think about how little moments now mean more than ever? I feel that way about the first bite of a whole egg, the silkiness, the satisfaction, the body saying thank you. In my kitchen, I scramble eggs slowly with a splash of milk, low heat, a pinch of salt, a bit of black pepper. I add a handful of spinach or a spoonful of soft onions, and I keep the yolk's goodness right where it belongs, on my plate and in my day. Step 5. Respect the calendar and the shell eggs, like people, have a season. They will tell you when they are past their prime if you give them the chance. I look at the date on the carton, I listen for cracks. If a shell is damaged, even in the smallest way, I give that egg a kind farewell. And if I am unsure, I set the egg in a glass of cold water. A fresh one sits down. An old one stands up or floats a little, letting me know it is ready to rest. It is not wasteful to choose safety, it is honorable. Have you ever found healing in something as simple as slowing down and taking one more thoughtful look? There is another habit worth letting go, reheating a whole boiled egg in the microwave. I know it feels efficient, but the heat can build inside and burst like a little firecracker, and that is no way to start a day. If you prefer your egg warm, peel it and nestle it into a bowl of hot water for a minute or two, or slice it and warm it gently in a pan. That way, breakfast stays peaceful. Gentle truths and a myth to set down. Here is the gentle twist in our story. Many of us believed for years that eggs, especially the yolks, were a straight path to trouble. But the bigger picture is kinder. For most of us, a whole egg a day is a friendly habit, especially when the rest of the plate is filled with vegetables, whole grains, fruits, and good fats. Balance is the quiet hero of every kitchen. It keeps the heart content and the body grateful. Isn't it funny how wisdom often sounds like what our grandparents told us? Eat real food, not too much, and share your table. I do not recommend chasing perfect. Perfect is a young person's game. We are aiming for steady. Cook eggs with warmth. Store them thoughtfully. Choose cookware that lasts. Enjoy the yolk. Respect the shell and the date. Warm food gently. These are homely steps, but they add up to mornings that feel safe and satisfying. A morning in practice. Picture an easy Tuesday. You wake to birds that know your yard. The floor is cool beneath your feet. You put the kettle on because you like tea before coffee now. Have you ever noticed that the first sip is the quietest part of the day? You open the refrigerator and reach for the carton. It is right where it belongs, on a stable shelf, tucked away from onions. You choose 2 eggs, both whole, both sound. A small skillet waits on the stove, heavy and friendly. You warm it slowly, not from impatience, but from kindness. A pat of butter, the size of a walnut, slides into a little puddle. You crack the eggs into a bowl, whisk them with a splash of milk, and pour them into the pan. You stir lazily, the way a breeze stirs leaves. While the eggs set, you think about the day ahead. Maybe a doctor's appointment, maybe a walk with a friend, maybe tidying the desk drawer that still holds an old postcard from a vacation long ago. Do you ever find your mind touching old memories like stones in a creek, smooth and comforting? You spoon the eggs onto a warm plate. On the side is a bit of sliced tomato sprinkled with salt and a slice of good bread. You sit down. Fork in hand, you take a bite and you can feel your body accept it the way soil accepts rain. The meal does not shout. It simply steadies you, for those living with fatigue or fragile digestion. Sometimes our bodies ask for gentler food. If your stomach has been sensitive, if you're rebuilding after a hospital stay, or if fatigue has been your shadow, an egg can be your companion. Try this. Whisk a whole egg with a spoon of warm broth instead of milk, and cook it low and slow until it is tender as a cloud. Add a few flakes of parsley, eat it with a cup of ginger tea. Rest a moment after. Is not it remarkable how a simple, well-cooked egg can feel like kindness from the inside? And if nightly worry keeps sleep light, consider a small evening ritual. Turn off the news earlier, make a cup of chamomile, and if you are a little hungry, a single hard-boiled egg with a sprinkle of salt may help you settle. Have you ever noticed how good sleep can make life feel new again? Stories we carry. I once knew a gentleman named Harold who loved a quick fix. He microwaved everything because it saved time. One afternoon, he warmed a whole boiled egg, barely 20 seconds, and when he took a bite, it burst and stung his lip enough to make him wince for days. He laughed it off, as men sometimes do, but later he said, "It is funny. I hurry all the time as if time is running away from me. And then I end up losing time to the very hurry I chose." After that, he warmed his eggs in a bowl of hot water like his mother did, and he swore they tasted better. Isn't it something how our mothers were often right? And there was Ellen, who rinsed eggs the moment they came into the house. She was diligent, careful, shining her refrigerator like a showroom. When she learned that eggs preferred to be left alone until cooking time, she felt a little betrayed, as if the world had changed the rules without telling her. We talked about it. She tried the carton method. A month later, she said, "You were right. The eggs taste like themselves again." Sometimes the simplest care is the best care. A kitchen map you can trust. Here's a small map for the next time you step into the kitchen. Keep eggs in their carton on a stable shelf, far from fragrant foods. Resist washing them when you arrive home. Tidy them right before you cook. Cook eggs until the yolk is firm, unless you're using pasteurized eggs, and feel confident. Let go of pans that are scratched or tired. Favor cast iron, stainless steel, or ceramic. Warm food gently. Skip the microwave reheating of whole boiled eggs. Choose the whole egg, honoring the yolk and the white together. Check for cracks and dates. When in doubt, send an egg back to the earth rather than onto your plate. Pair eggs with color, spinach, tomatoes, berries, or a side of oats, so your plate looks like a small garden. Do you ever notice how a colorful plate brightens the spirit before you even take a bite? A note on heart and memory. Now and then, someone will say, "My doctor and I worry about cholesterol." And that is a worthy conversation. We each have our own story. But for many of us, a whole egg daily, folded into a balanced life, sits comfortably on the table. Memory loves choline. Eyes love lutein and zeaxanthin. Bones nod to vitamin D. The heart feels at ease when a plate is friendly, and the rest of the day includes movement, laughter, and a glass of water before supper. Isn't it interesting how the body often asks for the same basics it always has? Real food, fresh air, steady sleep, and kindness? The soft science of kindness. I think of the body as an old house we still love to live in. Some windows stick, some steps creak, but with a bit of care, the rooms hold sunlight just fine. Eggs are like a reliable lamp in the kitchen. Not flashy, not loud, simply useful. When we handle them thoughtfully, they return the favor, offering energy without fuss, protein without drama, and comfort without apology. Have you ever noticed that when you treat food with tenderness, you end up treating yourself that way too? A small breakfast prayer. Sometimes, before I eat, I think a simple thought. May this food help me be steady today. May it give me the strength to call a friend, to take an afternoon walk, to hold my temper in traffic, to laugh if the toast burns. I know it sounds old-fashioned, but it makes me slow down. Slowing down is not laziness, it is wisdom earning its keep. If you are listening to this and you feel a touch of worry, maybe about past habits or the meals you used to make, be gentle with yourself. We have all done what we thought was right at the time. The gift of this season of life is that we can change without drama. We can toss a scratched pan, lean toward the whole egg, store cartons wisely, and make breakfast safer without feeling scolded. We are not children, we are caretakers of bodies that have carried us far. Bringing it together. Let me gather these thoughts once more, the way you might gather dishes after a good meal. Cook with warmth and patience so the egg can be safe and kind. Store with respect, carton closed, refrigerator steady, fragrant foods kept at arm's length. Skip the early wash, wipe before cooking. Choose cookware that keeps its promises, cast iron, stainless, ceramic, and say goodbye to worn-out nonstick. Enjoy the whole egg because the yolk offers gifts that the white alone cannot bring. Honor the shell and the calendar. Warm leftovers gently, but never ask a whole boiled egg to bear the microwave. And let your plate be colorful, like a small garden in summer. Do you ever notice how these small courtesies to food, to tools, to time turn into courtesies to yourself? A gentle send-off. Before we part, I want to say something that matters to me. Your health is not just numbers and charts. It is the way you still enjoy an early morning breeze, the sound of a grandchild's laugh on the phone, the comfort of slipping into your own bed at night knowing you did your best. Eggs are a small piece of that larger comfort. Treat them kindly and they will take good care of you. Have you ever noticed how, when we take care of the first meal of the day, the rest of the day seems to behave? So tomorrow, when the light finds your kitchen again, make yourself a breakfast that feels like home. Crack 2 whole eggs into a bowl, whisk them slowly, cook them tender and safe. Maybe slice a peach or a tomato on the side. Pour a cup of tea and let the steam rise like a soft promise. Eat without hurry, breathe between bites, and if you think of it, smile at the ordinary grace of an egg done well. May your mornings be easy, your days steady, and your evenings gentle. May you find strength in simple foods and comfort in small routines. And if any of this has reminded you of your own kitchen wisdom, pass it along, because somewhere, someone is standing at a stove this very moment, hoping to do right by their body, and your kindness might be the nudge they need. Have you ever noticed how sharing what we know makes the meal taste better for everyone? Thank you for spending these quiet minutes with me. Take good care of yourself, eat well, rest well, and remember, when a day begins with a little warmth and a whole egg cooked with care, life has a way of feeling friendlier right from the first bite. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with your friends so they can learn something useful for their health too.